Go Jackets!
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rec Talk. Few orders of business before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video. First, go ahead and subscribe on or follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't, and if you're not a part of the Discord, that's where you're going to get news on new videos that are coming out. You can interact with me. I'm on there a good bit. If you have suggestions for the show, video ideas, you can get on Discord there. I would highly recommend it. In other channel news, last night I was on Pigskin Pete's ACC Show. That's going to be in the description with C-Dog. I was invited to be on the panel and had a ton of fun. Go and check those guys out if you're not subscribed to them already. And we eclipsed 500 subscribers while that show was going on. Again, thank you to both of them. That was a ton of fun. Let's get into it. So, I've watched Brent Key's introductory press conference a few times now and kind of dissected it. So first, Cabrera and Bat both talked. They talked about the competitive drive initiative, the $2.5 million initiative that would be matched by Georgia Tech for $5 million, and that the final contribution was made by Brent Key and his family. Now, we talked about this on the ACC show last night with C-Dog and Pigskin Pete. Kuhn's perspective was that this is not normal. This is kind of like shows how much of dire straits that Tech is in. And I don't know, right? I'm not in that world. We don't know, like, how much money was that? Was that kind of like something that was set up to show how, invested that Key was in the program? But I don't necessarily think it's, this doom and gloom thing that I did kind of the last video. I've kind of shifted my perspective on that. But I will say it is nice. No one would ever question Key's dedication and will to win that he has. I mean, he was fired up during this press conference when he came on, and just, it was something to see. It made me proud to be a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. I can tell you that. Bat talked about coming in. He did find the coffee, evidently. I don't know how long it took him to find the coffee, by the way, but was an effective dodge when he was first hired around the coaching search. Questions. He talked about doing an exhaustive search for the right guy for Georgia Tech, and believes Brent Key and knows Brent Key to be that guy, the best coach for Georgia Tech. He talked about him having the right vision for Tech, and the thing that I guess rung most true for me is his dedication to develop players, it really in all areas of their life, academically, on the football field, as young men, all of those things really impressed Jay Bat and is what led him to hire Brent Key. So Brent Key comes on and, he's trying to talk and immediately gets emotional. And I can't imagine. You think about landing your dream job, what you've wanted to do your whole life, and you're there. You're at the precipice of doing what, you've always wanted to do, and he gets emotional. And look, it got me, somewhat emotional too. I got emotional when he was in the video where he was introduced to the players, and everyone just goes absolutely nuts. In my opinion, this is what a player's coach looks like. And, it's just so exciting to see Brent Key get this opportunity and see what he does. And really the first thing he does is he calls out for support. He said, hey, it's going to take everyone, alumni, donors, fans, to really get Tech where they need to go. And I'll say this, look, we've all been critical of Georgia Tech over the years. Now is the time, this coming up season, to show up. And it starts with the spring game, showing up to support this team, getting to the stands, getting loud, and getting this team where it needs to go. So that's kind of how it started. It started out, and he was very clear. And look, Brent Key is quite an intense guy, and he said, look, I am here to win. I'm here to win football games and develop players. And he talks about really, focusing on the players that are on the current roster, and really, I guess, not get caught reaching into the cookie jar and kind of missing what's right in front of you. Now this was interesting. So, and this came up on the ACC show last night, that Key said, we will not do anything to embarrass the institution of Georgia Tech, which is like a weird thing to say. Like, I know what he's saying, but like after where we've been, like Pigskin Pete brought up, like we were working out, like, I guess I'm trying to remember, like on the sidelines before we played Clemson one year, we call a timeout and then run the clock out this year right before half. So it probably did need to be say, like, look, we've been a total embarrassment of a program for a minute, and I'm not going to do anything to continue that trend. So good to hear that. He also talked about, it made me think of Moneyball, honestly. There's a scene in Moneyball that's like exactly what he's talking about. He said, you have to learn how to win, and you have to hate to lose. And there is a difference. Go back and watch Moneyball. It's a great scene. You have to hate to lose. He even talked about O'Leary, telling him, like, every time you lose, you die a little bit inside. I don't know if I've ever been that intense about a win or a loss. Maybe that's why I'm just an idiot with a camera on a YouTube channel. But I do appreciate, the intensity and the no nonsense. It's diametrically opposed kind of to what we've seen with Collins in the past. This is a no nonsense guy, X's and O's, that's coming here to win and play fundamental football. And I, for one, am very happy to see it. He talked about, again, continuing on that trend, getting back to the fundamentals. He didn't use that word, but he said it starts in the weight room, how you practice, and your mental, game, right? Like your mental toughness. These are all important things. Now I'll discuss it in another video. We made a hire for our strength and conditionings coach. It seems to me that he did not agree with how the strength and conditioning program was run. So, and in this press conference named how important that is to get your body ready, working out in the right way, prepare, we did have, injury issues this year. So it seems like it's his vision to really change, I guess, the vision for our strength and conditioning program. And this was the big thing. Like he said, look, this is what my immediate focus is. And really he talked about not focusing in the portal. Like, you have to develop, the players you have. You have to recruit the players you have. And, he talked about building your roster from the bottom up, which is something I haven't heard, a coach say, but I tend, to agree, you need to elevate all of your players to, I'm thinking of a word that Collins used a lot, and I don't want to, but I'll say this, to be game ready. It's something Nick Saban's actually talked about. Like, if you're the third string guy, you should be practicing and preparing in practice like you're going to be the second string guy, or you're going to play in the game, because what happens is, and I think it showed with Gibson, like, if you're the second string quarterback and you're not practicing and preparing like you're going to get in the game, and you get thrown in there, you're going to get exposed. It's going to show that you didn't prepare in a way to play well. He said we have to focus on the team we have. And I got the impression that he wasn't very concerned with hitting the portal very hard. which was a little concerning for me. I feel like he should have phrased that like, say all the things you need to, that he did say about developing the players you have. And I think that's very important, you know. I'm thinking of Joe Burrow, right? Like he transfers from Ohio State. I guess that's not a great example because he transferred, but there could be diamonds in the rough on your team that, especially with how disastrous our coaching, our head coaching has been in the past, people that haven't achieved their potential. And I think that's what your job is as a coach, right? Is to elevate your players to the highest level of play that they're capable of doing, and maybe even like 5% above that, above what they think they're capable of doing. Again, I think that's very important. But I would have hedged it with, hey, if we need help in some areas, you know, if our roster is deficient in numbers, like in wide receiver, we're certainly going to need another wide receiver, linebacker, you know, possibly quarterback, depending on what Key wants to do. You know, yeah, we're going to go out in the portal and get players that can help this team, you know, become a championship team where we need it, and players that are right for the Georgia Institute of Technology. I think that he kind of missed there, and he didn't really poo-poo on the portal, but he certainly didn't seem like he was super interested in going out and getting kids from the portal that would help us be a better team. And he got absolutely fired up. He's like, there is a team in our state, and I will work 365 days a year to dominate our opponent. And at the basketball game, which we did beat Georgia in basketball last night, the hell with Georgia, he echoed that same sentiment. You know, we're going to work 365 days a year to dominate our opponents. And his goal is to build a championship team. That is what he's here to do. And really, if that's not your goal, why do it anyways, right? And I don't think that we have to, you know, he talked about, what are you going to say? You know, we're going to raise $1 billion. We don't have to, I guess, have the financial backing of the top 5% of schools in the country. Again, I'm thinking of Moneyball, right? Find the right players for your system, for your school, that are talented, and develop them. I mean, I think that doing that, right, and putting a product on the field that people want to see, which we haven't done until about 4 weeks into this season, right? I can only imagine good things are going to come out of that. Then you've built something you can sell, right? Like, hey, you know, we're competing for the conference, and you're the piece. You know, we won 8 games. You're the piece. You know, you go to a kid's home that's going to put us to the next level, and we'd love for you to be a part of that. And we're going to develop you, and we're going to push you to be the best player that you can be. You know, college football has changed so much in the past few years, and I'm just not convinced that, I guess, just basic fundamental coaching and just hard work is no longer enough to get you to a good place, I guess. Now I will say this, Key was quite dodgy, in my opinion, with some questions, and maybe even that's too strong of a word. He didn't directly answer a lot of questions. Like he was asking in different ways about the financial commitment and things, and he did what a good politician will do, which is where you don't answer the question that was asked, you answer the one they wish you would have asked. You know, Key's not some great orator. You know, he's not going to be someone that has these good sound bites. You know, he's not a Lane Kiffin. He's not a Mike Leach. He's not a suave speaker. And I'm okay with that. You know, Key, you know, what I took away from that press conference is he's here to roll his sleeves up, and I don't think anyone will say he just isn't going to flat out work everyone if at all possible. But again, he was at times a little. He was asked a bad question, or Cabrera was basically about like, hey, certain coaches have different financial commitments that need to be made, and kind of what went on with that. Cabrera said, I'm not even going to acknowledge the premise of the question. Go back and watch that press conference. He was like, I mean, it was kind of a forward question to ask when a guy's being introduced. And he went down this weird road, and I thought this was one thing that was absolutely boggled. He said, we're not concerned with the results, but I'm here to win. And he was basically asked like, well, how can you say, you're here to win, but you're not concerned with the results, which is a fair question. And I just don't think that he's the orator to answer that question correctly at the moment. Here's what Key meant to say. When you take care of what's right in front of you, right? When you take things one step at a time, develop, put in the work, the results generally take care of themselves. And that's not just true for football. That's true for anything that you want to do in life, right? If you just take care of what's right in front of you, good things are going to happen. The results will start taking care of themselves. If you've practiced in the right way, if you've put in the work, if you're hitting the books in academics and you're doing everything that you need to do to be successful, you're going to get the results, right? You're going to get the results that you want to get. So, that was my takeaway from his conference. I just see a guy that's absolutely passionate about Georgia Tech football, that's here to roll his sleeves up and do the work. So with that being said, and I'd put this at the end of the video, here's what's coming up with the channel, right? So a live show is in the works. I do have a contact that has been in that industry for a very long time, that is an expert in doing things like that, and has agreed to help me get that live show off the ground. Now, that is going to require at least one moderator. So if you're interested in that, definitely email or join the Discord and let me know that you're interested. We do have, I am prepared to make some financial investments to make the show better. We definitely need better lightings. I have like a $20 Walmart light over there. You can see the shadow. We're going to make investments to make the live show get off the ground. And I'm working on, I say we, like I have some staff of people, some more political speak, I guess. I am working on a brilliant intro video. What I have right now, it will do for now. But yeah, so that's what we have coming on in the works. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for all the support that everyone's given the channel. I'm just a guy that's passionate about Georgia Tech football, that has a microphone and a venue to talk about it. So with that, I appreciate you watching. And I'll talk to you later.